Chronicles channel, where there's a lesson to be learned in every single video. Once again, shout out for the love I've been getting on this channel. Appreciate y'all. Can't do it without you. It's like the thumbnail says, right? We live in a very small world. Very small. And if y'all out here dating, let me tell you something. The world is very small. So be careful. Be careful out here, because you never know. I'm going to get into 3 stories real quick that happened to me. And they're all true stories, right? Where I was dating and I realized that the world is smaller than I thought it was, right? So before I get into the stories, let me just take it back. This is back in like 2016 when I was working with a great bunch of guys, right? These guys were real cool. To this day, the guys I work with, we still talk all the time. We still good friends. You know, we support each other. We support each other's families and stuff like that. But this is 2016. I was working with a group of guys, and we were all pretty much dating, right? And actually, some of them are married now, right? So when we come to work, we used to share stories about dating and, you know, who we met and show pictures. I met this one and that one. We didn't go into details. Sometimes we did, but then, you know, we would just share stories. So I want you to kind of get where I'm coming from. So story number one. I was seeing this young lady. I met her on OkCupid. Now at the time I was on OkCupid, I was on Plenty of Fish, I was on Bumble, I was on Facebook dating, I was on a couple of them. I was dating, whatever, right? So my man said try OkCupid, so I went on OkCupid. Met this young lady. We were rocking for about 2 weeks. First time we met up at a Panera Bread. We hung out, had a great time, went back to a car. We kind of fooled around. We didn't have sex. Second time I hung out with her, the very next week, I slept at her house, and she lived like literally 10 minutes away from me, right? And I lived in Mount Vernon at the time, right? And she lived in not too far from Mount Vernon, because there was Bronx, and Bronx is kind of close to a couple of places in Westchester. So I'm not gonna shout her out too much because I think she's one of my subscribers. But anyway, so we were rocking for about 2 weeks. One Friday I came in, I talked to my homeboy. He was saying, yeah, I met this young lady last week. He started describing her. Now, mind you, this young lady had a distinct beauty mark on her face, right? It's actually kind of cute. He said, yeah, I met this young lady. She lives near such and such, not too far from me. And then he started describing her, and I said, oh, snap. And I said to myself, nah, it ain't the same person. But then when he said her name, I said, wait a minute. And then I asked him, well, does she live near here? He goes, yeah. I didn't go to her house, but I was in front of her building. Now, I know the building because I was in her house. He tells me, like, yeah, we went out the first time, went to her car, and he smashed the very first time. I said, no. He said, yeah. He said, yeah. And I know he wasn't lying, because the conversation he had with her is the same conversations she had with me. I was like, damn. And I kind of liked it too. Small world. So I was just like, yikes, yo. Are you serious? But yeah. I was talking to her for about 2 weeks. Within those 2 weeks, he met up off OkCupid. Very first night he smashed. Small world. Alright. Story number 2. Here we go. Met this other young lady on POF. It was about a couple of months after that situation, right? And when I first met her, she seemed real cool. You know, we talked on the phone. However, she was one of these I love the Lord types. I love the Lord, praise his name, quoting scriptures and quoting the Bible and all this stuff. And one thing I learned is to always ask questions. That's a tip, by the way. He or she who asks questions are in control of the conversation, right? So just in talking to her, I realized a couple of things, or I found out. Number one, she was just a born-again Christian. She just came out of being a 304 thought. She was out there. And I'm not judging anybody who found the Lord and they seen the light and now they want to be a born-again Christian, but she was out there. She pretty much said she was out there. All she really dated was Jamaican dudes, and they would just pretty much blow her back out and leave. So I just found it funny how she was always quoting the scriptures. We got to go to church and all this stuff. On top of that, She didn't have her license. She didn't have her papers. She still lived at home with her mother, her sister, and no disrespect, she was a nanny. So I said to myself, and then she wanted a guy who was a Christian, makes six figures. He has to be in a monogamy relationship. He can't be out there. She had all these qualifications. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. How you have all these qualifications when all you bring to the table is scriptures and Bible verses and all this stuff? I said, what if a guy who got himself together, because I had my stuff together. I lived by myself. I had my passport. I was working. I wasn't rich, but I was doing my thing. So I said, really? Okay. How does that work? Of course, she said, the Lord will make a way. I swear. True story, right? So, at first I was going like, nah, I'm good, man. But I still continue to talk to her, right? And this was a Saturday I got her phone number. This was a Saturday, right? And I think by that Monday, I talked to my homeboy again. Same homeboy from the first story. We talking at work. We was in the back lifting stuff, boxes and all that. He said, yeah, I met this young lady. She kept talking about the God to me and all this stuff. Now, the funny thing is, we both lived in the Bronx, Mount Westchester, Mount Vernon area. This young lady lived in Queens. So I'm saying to myself, it can't be the same person. It can't be. He showed me screenshots of the pictures she sent him. I said, yeah. It was the same woman. You want to hear the kicker? Listen to the kicker. She tells him, yeah, you a handsome guy. I know you out here dating all these other girls. You tell him that, but you was just on the phone with me the other day. I am telling you, y'all, it's a small world, right? So he showed me the pictures. I said, really? So he sent it to me. I screenshot it on my phone, and I sent her a text. I said, let me ask you a quick question. Are you talking to anybody else? She goes, well, no. You're the only one I'm talking to. Handsome. True story, y'all. So I said, oh, okay. I sent her the screenshot that my homeboy sent me. The same picture she sent him was the same picture she had sent me. She called me literally immediately after it said red. Oh, how you know this guy and what kind of games you playing? She tried to flip it and make it seem like I was in the wrong. I said, listen, sweetheart, it's all good. You should be talking to other guys. I expect it, but the fact that I asked you a question, you're both face live. And it's amazing how you want to talk scriptures and quote all this stuff, but look at how you living. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does this work? And of course, she denied the denial, which a lot of women do. They don't want to, accept fault or say I was wrong or I got caught. They just want to deny, deflect. They just can't say, yo, my bad. But all good. I ain't get mad. So I said, well, you take care and Godspeed. And I think he talked to her a couple more times, but then, eventually we both kind of lost interest, right? Well, I lost interest immediately, but he just kind of left her alone, right? Small world. So small world. Story number three, right? So I met this woman off of Facebook dating, right? Long story short, we went, our first meeting went to Banana Bread, had a great time. She actually came back to my house, we chilled, nothing happened. And we were talking for about a month, right? And on my Facebook page, I actually posted a picture of us going painting together. We had sipping paint, and we had a great time. So those people who are my subscribers, who are my Facebook friends, go back in my history. You'll see a dark-skinned lady. Well, I'm not gonna say her name, but because we're not Facebook friends, but I posted it because I had a good time. I had a great time that evening. Anyway, we went painting. She was mad fun. We went on a couple of dates. We ate. She came to my house a couple of times. Came to our house. We were chilling. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, damn, I kind of like this girl. I kind of like her. So about a month in, one of my other homeboys at work said, yo, I saw that picture you post of that woman you went painting with. Long story short, he says, I dated her in college. I said, nah. He said, yeah. I dated her in college. And she was a player. Broke hearts. He was telling me all these stories. Now, again, I'm not judging her based on her past, because that was, 15 years later. But I'm like, okay. He's telling me all these stories, right? He said, it always starts out good, but you got to be funny with her because she's a player. I never got that vibe from her, but I kept that in the back of my brain. Long story short, and it's a very small world, she said something. We got into an argument over something. She said something, and I said, well, that's how I know that you talked to so-and-so and you was a player. Blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm not going to front. On my part, that was kind of corny. I'm not going to front. That was corny. I'll be the first one to admit. I should have left it alone. But her face when she said, oh, how you know him? How you know? Da, 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 da. She was so surprised. I didn't tell her how I knew him, but I said, I know your past. You know what I'm saying? And, of course, we stopped talking, and that was that. Because she kind of played herself. Well, we kind of both played ourselves. But, you know, it was just weird. Like, I really thought we were going to vibe. So, I'm telling you, y'all, first of all, be careful what you post on social media. Sometimes it can help, sometimes it can't. And just be careful out here, because it's a very small world. And honestly, personally, whenever I talk to somebody, I always, in the back of my brain, knew and understood this person got like 5 to 10 people, on the bench waiting to be called up. You know what I'm saying? And most people, from my experience, men and women, got somebody in the background waiting to take the number 1 spot. So that's it, y'all. I just want to share those 3 quick stories of dating in today's world is very interesting, and it's a very small world. Be careful out here. You never know. So with that being said, peace and love. Until the next video, and I'm out.